everywhere. Get this with the free Odyssey app and try out that rewind feature. My show on your time. Test it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Good morning, Las Vegas. What's going on? Welcome to the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. I wish a lot of shows, and I wish we could do this too sometimes, is when we're on commercial breaks, just keep going. Because we say the dumbest things to each other sometimes on this show. It is unreal. And I spared Phil Stamper. I really did. In fact, let's introduce everybody. We got a loaded house today. Let's bring in Phil Stamper. He is the president of wrestling.
No, I'm not.
You're not?
I'm Batman. I don't know.
Mother of God, Stu Myrick from Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Help.
If we aired what was on the commercials, I'm pretty sure KDAWN FM might be in jeopardy of their license.
That is correct.
What in the blue hell is going on?
Well, we'll have to explain it later on in the show. I started something with Phil, and then Phil just really screwed up in the chat between us. I'm just going to say that. And I let him go. From adfreeshows.com, Coach Rosey, Josh Rosenbaum is with us, sir. You are not involved in this mayhem.
No, but I'm going nuts over the anticipation of what's to bring for this show today.
Oh, help. And just in time, I brought back in a terrific guy. We had him on the show about a month ago, and he is the author of Pro Wrestling's Black World Champions, Volume 3. Terrific guy. Thrilled to have him back, and I feel bad for him that he is falling into these shenanigans and hijinks. We welcome back David Shabazz. David, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me back.
Are you sure? Oh,
yeah. I just smiled in the comments.
Yeah, you know what I was going to do. You know it. Oh, but we're going to be bringing you the best in pro wrestling today on KDAWN. We're also streaming on the Odyssey app. If you do not have the app, well, you may be missing parts of your body. So restore yourself with the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Pick that thing up right now. We are also live streaming on X, YouTube, and Facebook. X at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, YouTube, The Mark Hoke Show. If you want to join in all the fun, if you dare, I mean, it is just past Halloween. So come on into that chat box. Fire any questions, thoughts you have at us. We would certainly appreciate it. Well, guys, let's get this started, man. Saturday night's main event. I don't know how much of a main event it was last night, but, we had a little show. So here's what happened yesterday, everybody, in case you missed it. We have 2 title changes last night, 2 that I don't think we were expecting to change. Cody Rhodes holds on to the undisputed WWE Championship, beating Drew McIntyre. They had a stipulation that Cody could not get disqualified or counted out. He did not do that and remains the champ. Jade Cargill, after becoming a bad girl, well, David, you may be putting her in your book as she wins the WWE Women's Championship. Tiffany Stratton is out of there, so Jade Cargill is your new WWE Women's Champion. Dominic Mysterio holds onto his Intercontinental Championship, beating Penta and Rusev. And the vacant World Heavyweight Championship, I hate to say it, but vacant, your championship reign is over there as CM Punk beats Jey Uso. He is the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Phil, I'll give you the overview shot on this. What did you think of last night's show?
honestly, I feel like there's some excitement missing right now. I feel like there needs to be something that gives a shot of adrenaline into the arm of the WWE, and I just don't know what that thing is in the moment. That's my big overall summary.
That's fair enough. Stu, did you like the show last night?
It was a by the numbers show. It was look, and Phil's right. There is nothing exciting outside of John Cena's retirement. There's really not a whole lot of news breaking or whatever. It was very by the numbers. I don't think, the results that happened, I think everybody knew that was going to happen. I wonder what kind of luster it lost since it wasn't on NBC, because, of course, NBC showing Big Ten football. So being just on Peacock, you wonder if that had anything to do with it. But it was kind of like, okay, sure. I will say this: I was happy that after the main event, after Punk won the world title, there was no post-match angle. There was no run-in. It was Punk standing on the corner, holding up the world title, and roll the credits, and we fade to black. And that was nice because WWE and to an extent AEW have both been, leaning heavily on like end of show angles or whatever, and it gets kind of tiring. It's one of those law of diminishing returns type thing.
Coach, what did you think? Was there something that stood out to you on that show last night?
What stood out to me was there was a clean finish in the ring. So to kind of piggyback off of what Stu said, it was nice not to have any gaga or any things that would have tarnished Punk's moment. And one of the happiest moments for me was that picture that they took backstage in Gorilla, where 4 of the icons of AEW are lined up together with all of their championship belts. Talk about trolling 101. That really made me smile to see Jade, Cody, CM Punk, and Jade all with the titles.
David, Jade Cargill wins the women's championship, and kind of a dominating performance, short match. How are you feeling about Jade finally becoming world champion? Is this the right call?
Well, I have to start by saying I did not watch the show last night.
Fair enough.
I was watching football, so this is all new.
Oh, but I'll be honest with you. That's and Stu, you brought it up. That's a problem, man. That's a problem. Not having Saturday night's main event on NBC. You got to wonder how many people actually did get to watch this thing. But David, still Jade winning. How are you feeling about it?
I think it was a good move. I think they really took advantage of the situation with her and Nia Jax, and it was like a great way of turning her heel. Jade, that is. I think they took advantage of it, and I could kind of see it coming. I'm happy for her.
Yeah. There you go. So Jade Cargill, your women's champ. But, it's funny, guys, when I asked you guys somewhat the same question here. There is a problem in WWE, and I don't know if what happened outside of the ring may have caught their attention, because I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but their attendance for this Saturday night's main event was way off the last time they were in Salt Lake City. I mean, way off. They drew like 12 or 13,000-ish the last time they were there about 11 months ago. This time, 7,867. They were apparently moving people around like crazy to make the arena look full. But, man, that is a huge drop. And, is it the storylines? Is it the costs? I mean, there are some major problems, I think, here going on with WWE. And Phil, what did you think about that when you hear that number?
I will say really quick, where was main event last night? Do you know offhand?
At the Delta Center in Salt Lake City,
Utah.
I mean, because I live near the DC area, so a lot of people have been impacted by the federal government shutdown. So I was like, well, maybe there's a question about funds and money and expense of doing it. Certainly the expenses in some cases more than doubled for tickets. So I think that's a direct deterrent. And I think we've seen this before in the WWE. When they shoot up prices, of course, attendance will go down. There's part of my brain that does wonder on the financial mechanism that is the WWE and larger TKO as they look at that shrinking crowd. Like, they had to account that was going to go down as they were trying to increase revenue with money. It's going to take time to build that back up financially for people to be able to afford to attend events. Think of the write-offs they can do now when they give out free tickets to charitable organizations, and how, the ticket cost is X, so now they're also increasing their tax write-offs. I think that probably has something to do with it from any business. This isn't just a WWE thing. I think any business would capitalize on this in that way. I don't agree with it. Please don't take it that way. I think they're making it more and more unaffordable for families to be able to attend what was built on the backs of being a family event. So I think that has a lot to do with it. I wonder about the storyline. I think it's waxing and waning a bit. And as critical as I was before, I think it's more on the financial side than it is the story side.
Yeah, and Coach, I saw you put your hand up there, and that is a problem about, pro wrestling has been traditionally a family event that you take the kids to, you have a good time. It's not like UFC. It's not like a boxing card or anything like that. And I just wonder if the current philosophy of TKO is now finally starting to catch up with them a little bit.
Could be. Just to kind of corroborate what Phil was saying, Friday afternoon, I got an email from somebody in WWE saying, "Hey, man, we'll get you first 4 rows. You just got to get up to Salt Lake Saturday. Can you come?"
What?
Said, well, I said, "It's my wife's birthday tomorrow night. So, no, I can't come." And I probably wouldn't have come anyway. But, they were giving away tickets left and right. And if you watch the show, they did show more of the celebrities. They had more celebrity shots than ever in the show to try to draw attention to look who's coming to the show. It's Post Malone, it's Tony Hinchcliffe, it's all these people. They got their reactions and they put them strategically around their camera angles, which made it seem like it was a much bigger event. But the family aspect of wrestling is going to be gone, because we're in a time where it's about maybe $400 or $500 to take a family of 4 to wrestling, with popcorn and soda and nachos and parking and tickets and T-shirts, maybe even more than that.
Yeah, I would say it's a lot more.
That's a paycheck. That's a whole week's paycheck. So, I mean, with all the instability going on, who can risk wasting 1 week's paycheck for 2 or 3 hours of entertainment when they can sit on their couch and watch it for free?
Yeah, David, I mean, you're a wrestling historian. This is somewhat of a disturbing trend, I would think, for WWE, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I would. And I've heard the same with the numbers for the Netflix broadcast. I heard that it's just in the tank as well, just continuously going down. And that is very disturbing.
So what does WWE do about it? Or will they do anything about it? This is one of these situations where you've got a guy, Nick Khan, who is trying to get every penny that he can, right? He's trying to just, the sponsorships and everything else. I swear to God, I'm amazed that wrestlers haven't had their butts stamped with sponsors yet. And, you have that decision to make. Do you cater to this crowd like they did in Vegas, and they're finding out it didn't work? You cater to this crowd up here, but you get less people, or do you cater to a larger audience and keep your prices at a level where everybody can come?
Mark, there's something else a little more practical to think of. Mm-hmm. So last night, in fact, Michael Cole mentioned this at the top of the show. University of Utah had a football game. In fact, they were playing Cincinnati, which they beat Cincinnati 45-14. And University of Utah is in contention to make it to the Big 12 championship game coming up in December. So you got a college football game with 2 pretty decent teams, not too far from where Saturday night's main event was happening. So I'm sure that may have taken away a little bit from the live attendance there in the Delta Center. But you're right. This philosophy of, we need to maximize whatever. You don't need to maximize anything. You're already making money hand over fist. Why try to price everybody out? It's corporate greed at its finest. Well, and I'll say it.
I agree with you.
And it's, and I think that, I think it's going to start, it's going to turn around and bite WWE and TKO in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, Phil, this is a really interesting situation, and it's funny that this came up just the last couple of days, because we just had out here in Las Vegas where we had, I think the traffic into Vegas dropped down another 12% from last year's September, and the one of the CEOs of MGM just came out and said, well, we kind of overestimated charging $12 for a bottle of water and so on and so forth. Maybe we overestimated what everybody was willing to pay. And it's like, oh my God, are you serious? But was this kind of a big trial balloon for Nick Khan, or did they just get greedy?
I think it's like a bit of everything, right? I feel like a lot of businesses have capitalized on the sort of pandemic era pricing of, people found that they had a little excess to do a little bit more, and then just kind of kept riding on that same wave, because you're seeing companies make record margins in profits. And it's like, well, and the margin doesn't mean like just the net numbers going up. The difference between the cost and the net margin is increasing. So I think there's a little bit of that. Okay, you want to make it feel like it's a more premium experience. Well, what are you adding into the experience? Because
exactly.
I remember during the Monday Night Wars, as a kid, I never went to a wrestling event until I was an adult. And when I went, I remember I went to a Nitro, and I was like, okay, it was cool, but I felt like something was sort of lacking. And then I went to a Monday Night Raw, and I was like, wow, this has energy. They were engaging throughout the entire time, the beginning and during commercials, they were throwing t-shirts to the crowd, whatever. They had the local radio DJs talking everybody up. And then I went to a later Raw once the Monday Night Wars were over, and that was gone. And I remember the pricing had dropped on Raw for people to be more interested in coming to Raw. And say we will later probably about AEW. AEW is not the competitive edge against the WWE right now. It just isn't in that respect in the same kind of way as the Monday Night Wars. So that's not going to drive a price competition between the two. I think what AEW is doing and saying about keeping their costs down for attendance is the right move to make. I think the way you capitalize is for WWE to go kind of what I think is already sort of happening, because Netflix on last Tuesday, I happened to turn on Netflix, and they were showing that in the last 24 hours, their most watched program was Monday Night Raw. And I was like, whether that's true or not, because Netflix is probably in control of their own mechanism to do that. Oh, well, that's in itself a good marketing effort. Like, okay, we're going to say this is the most watched thing because now you want to watch it. It's a bandwagoning technique in advertising. So very similar. Like, how do you make it now feel like everybody is here and watching? Okay, we'll show all the celebrities that are in the crowd. You want to be here. This is an experience.
Right.
Experience that. I think, and I've sort of asked some promoters this question too. So this is sort of open and vague, is that I feel like wrestling in the audience is ready for a next evolution of something. And I don't know what that something is. It's a level of interactivity or involvement that feels a little bit different outside of what you're watching in just singularly the in-ring product. So I think there's something there. And if there's a company that can do it, it is the WWE. I feel like whatever that is, and I don't know what that is yet, WWE might be the first group to find it, to be able to latch onto that crowd a little bit more. When the first Raw on Netflix came on, the way even I know the stadium itself or the arena itself had the lights and the way you can do things from your chair. I was like, okay, that in itself was kind of a cool experience, but they can't replicate that everywhere. So it's like, all right, what else can you do to just give that sort of sense and feel like you belong there?
Oreo cookies.
There you go.
Speaking of Oreos, they were making fun of old Pepe Le Pew McMahon about his family pricing a couple weeks ago. Well, maybe they should go back to that family pricing, because I think Vince has enough money in his coffers to live very comfortably for 10 generations. So by kind of alienating the whole family approach, it's coming back to backfire on them. They thought they were real sassy with that comment, but they're seeing what happens when you price families out of the game, because wrestling is a family sport.
I would agree. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the storylines and everything, where it's all headed. Well, who's challenging Punk and Cody at this point? Maybe Punk, we got some answers, but Cody, I have an idea. We'll talk about it when we return. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Join Odyssey Las Vegas in honoring our past and present service members. Come out to the annual Veterans Day Parade in downtown Las Vegas on Tuesday, November 11th from 10 a.m. to noon. Supporters will line the streets to honor our veterans, active duty military, first responders, ROTC, JROTC units, and loads more. Let's give them the salute they deserve. For parade routes and information, visit veteransactiongroup.com. That's veteransactiongroup.com.
It's not easy getting your child to school each day, making breakfast, packing lunch, remembering homework, and getting to class on time. It's a lot, but you are setting up your child for success. Kindergarten through third grade classes are especially important to your child's growth. Missing school even 2 days a month could hurt your child's ability to learn. Give them the best chance of a great future, because they'll be shaping ours. This message is sponsored by a partnership with Strengthen Our Community and Communities in Schools, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, that sucks. All right. All right. I mean, Jack Allen's is good, but
KDAWN. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
That's me. I cannot do it like John Lindquist. It is impossible. He's Nevada Broadcasting Hall of Famer, and that voice is just iconic. Can't do it, man. Phil Stamper, Stu Myrick, Coach Rosey, David Shabazz joining us here on the Mark Hoke Show as we go around the world of pro wrestling. And now Saturday night's main event is wrapped up. We got a new world champ on one side. Cody Rhodes holds on the other. And the question, I think, at this point, is we're talking about storylines not captivating anybody right now, is who's up next for Cody and now CM Punk? This is very intriguing when you start looking down the list, because quite frankly, WWE has had so many of these guys losing over the past few months. I mean, Punk and the boys from the Vision, probably Braun Breaker, maybe those guys. But man, Cody is sort of out of challengers. David, let's stick you on this one first. Who's going after Cody at this point?
Yeah, I would think Braun Breaker would probably be a good candidate. I would like to see Braun Strowman, but I'm not sure if he's still with the company. I see him doing a food show now, so I think he would be a good challenger as well. But probably Braun Breaker is the first person that comes to mind for me.
Let's go, Stu. Who's on the list? Because I have one, and I'm gonna save it and freak you guys out a little bit.
Well, and that's going to be the thing. I mean, I like Braun Breaker, but he's on Raw, so that's likely going to be CM Punk's. Probably, now could and possibly have him win the Rumble. He'll be at WrestleMania. As for Cody, man, and that's been a problem with WWE booking for not only now, but obviously back when Vince was still in the chair, was that I don't know if they think fans have short memories or whatever, but they figure, we can just put in anybody, we'll beat them, but we can just put them in just because that's who we're going to put it in. The problem is it's not believable. It's not. Yeah. There's nothing there. So I'll be honest, I'm blanking as far as like on SmackDown who could be, unless they bring, maybe if they bring up Obafemi from NXT, he shows up on SmackDown, or a fun one could be Ethan Page. Of course, he's got to drop the North American title in NXT, but Cody and Ethan have had history back in the day, back in AEW, and I think maybe even in TNA or Impact Wrestling. So, but there isn't an obvious choice. So I'm interested to hear who you have.
Phil, see, and there's another problem. So if you dive right in and you bring Obafemi up, who I think is a future world champion, he's going to kind of end up in the same category as Tiffany Stratton right now, who came up pretty quick, wins championship, and now loses championship. And what do you do with her? I mean, Obafemi's a guy that would be someone that you'd want to have as a long-term champion, I would think. But to just shoot him up there and throw him against Cody, I don't know, man. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's a bit of a scattershot, because also right now, what is the biggest thing WWE is doing right now? The road of John Cena's retirement. Oh yeah, by the way, AJ Styles is retiring at WrestleMania. Nobody's talked. I mean, we talked about Braun Breaker, but nobody's brought up Roman Reigns. Like, I think he has the potential out there too.
Oh, you can't do that again, can you?
Yeah, you can. It's WWE. They can crank that machine anytime they want.
Exactly.
I feel, everything in WWE is about getting to the next WrestleMania to a degree. And so for me, it's like, all right, Survivor Series is like the first litmus test. You then get that road to the Royal Rumble that then goes directly into WrestleMania. And we've seen, Royal Rumble will change things. We've seen the week of WrestleMania changes things. So I feel like it is a machine. I feel like there is a plan. We just don't know the plan yet. I do find it interesting that, all four champions now are the, the big four champions are all people who have been at AEW, and like, well, what is that story trying to tell? Like, oh, so you have to go through AEW to get to the WWE? Like, they're the junior league, or they're the place you want to watch. Our champions come from there. Like, I don't know the message that's sending. You didn't really ask me this, but I'll go ahead and say it now. I'm shocked Jade won a title. Like, I'm absolutely shocked. I feel like she does need some more, but at the same time, what else are you going to do with her? I don't know if there's more to build there.
Yeah, see, that's another thing with Jade. It's and they did this with John when they just did. All of a sudden he was magically happy again, and now Jade out of the blue goes heel, and the next week she's the world champion. And how do you handle it, Coach? There's a mess here. There's a mess.
There's a mess, and I liked what everybody said, but I'll take 3 long shots. I'm going to start first with Dirty Dom. If you want to get some real nuclear heat, he will do anything on the mic. He will do anything on the ring. He will mock his new baby. He will talk about him being failed in other promotions. Dom would be tremendous. My second would be Trick Williams, another one that's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, why not Trick and A? He's proved that.
Why not Carmelo?
Carmelo had his shot, and it's not going to work out for him. He's good on the mic and all that, but Trick's about 6'6", chiseled out of stone, excellent on the mic, has been a world champion. And I'm not saying that obviously that he would win, but for a one pay-per-view kind of deal, Trick would be amazing, because I don't think he's going to do very well against Ricky in the next title match. So there's not going to be anything that's anchoring him in NXT. They can come up with the storyline where he just says, I'm tired of NXT or whatever, and come up and challenge Cody. And Cody's proven that if you challenge him, he'll take the challenge. And then if you really want to go a long shot, and if they really want to push TNA, why not Santana? Promotion world champ against promotion world champ, and let the cards fall where they fall, and see what Santana can do. Because they might be given, that might be a little on-the-job tryout for Santana to see if eventually he gets pulled up to, not pulled up, but gets a contract with WWE.
Well, that road leads to Joe Hendry, who was actually not my person, but that's a guy that you reminded me about. But I'm going to throw a name out here, and let me give a little background on this, guys, and tell me what you think. The times that have been some of the most interesting in pro wrestling is when there is a faction, a group of people that take over, and the story is, we've got to stop these guys. You think about the Horsemen, you think about the NWO, most recently the Bloodline. I'm going to give you a name. And when hopefully all the personal issues that are going on, and we do want to wish Mike Rotunda all the best, how about Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, and a run with the Wyatt Six? The reaction, when you think about the reaction that happened with the John Cena AJ Styles match, when they recognized Bray Wyatt during the match, there is a lot of love out there for those guys. But at the same time, they're still a heel faction, and if you really turn them loose, you're selling merchandise. You're getting some sympathy from people out there, but you also have a dominant group of people. What about Bo Dallas becoming the main challenger to Cody Rhodes, and him having to not only hold him off, but hold off the entire Wyatt Six? David, what do you think of my idea of Uncle Howdy as the top challenger for Cody Rhodes?
I'd never thought about that, but the more I think about it, I believe it could work, especially when we think about the entire Wyatt Six. I mean, I think that could be on par with the Bloodline and the Horsemen. I think that could really, that's interesting.
Yeah, they need a boost for those guys. They've been sitting around, they got the tag titles, but they're not using them. Let's use them. Let's use them, Stu Myrick. Should we?
I'm hesitant. I'll be honest. I'm hesitant because of the way they have booked them. It feels like grasping at straws just to catapult Bo Dallas into that title picture. Plus, it's kind of the problem I have with them holding the tag titles. There's something there. There's something about the Wyatt Six that says don't put titles on them. And I don't know what it is, but there's just something there. I don't know if it's the mystique or whatever, it just, I don't know. It doesn't fit to me. But
so what are they doing?
Six.
So what are they doing there then?
that's the $64 question. I mean, I don't know. It's they haven't. You're right. They haven't used them in forever outside of this tag title feud with name your favorite SmackDown tag team. But as far as Bo Dallas world champion or WWE champion, I'm hesitant. Like I said, I mean, crazier things can happen. I get it. And as far as factions go, the problem now would be we've seen it way too many times because of the Horsemen, because of NWO, because of the Bloodline. It's one of those things where it feels like, okay, we're going to pull that page and let's just run it again. If it feels like it's already been done,
but it works, Phil Stamper. It works. It if you don't go crazy with it, it works.
I like the chaotic. I like the idea of a chaotic disorder group. That okay, we're not necessarily going for championships. We're just here to cause a mess. I sort of like that idea. My brain is also percolating on a couple more people that we didn't talk about. I feel like once we start getting really into WrestleMania season, I feel like The Rock's going to come up. I feel like by that point, we'll be questioning ratings and money and all this stuff so much that they're going to start going, we need to pull out some bigger guns. And because the next year, well, not next year after is going to be in WrestleMania is going to be international. Okay, maybe this is the year that they really build up an awareness of international talent. They really bring all their purchases and partnerships across the world to a new level, because in Dubai that might be a better sell than it would be in a domestic American WrestleMania. And do you start that build at this year's WrestleMania? And so do you incorporate some of your international holdings now at this WrestleMania? So I'm percolating on that a little bit, because when we talk interpromotional, I don't know if they would go so far as a TNA crossover, but AAA, like,
I know, and they're trying to do so much right now with all this cross promotion stuff that you almost wonder if Coach, they've lost their focus a little bit on the actual, okay, here's the main line of what we're doing, and just kind of forget about TNA, forget about AAA for a little bit, and let's get the top right.
Well, I don't believe that. I don't think that that's going to be a possibility. I think if the oddities were around, they'd have a better shot of having.
Oh, come on! Oh man, I'm going to mute you.
Nice,
jeez.
But I do have a sneaky feeling that the Wyatts are going to get a push in the near future. I just have a feeling that when Matt and Jeff come back to WWE, I think Broken Matt and Brother Nero will be put in the mix with the Wyatt Six, and that's where they might be able to get a push. But for World Championship level, I think I don't think that they would want to have the internet wrestling community go nuclear on them at this point with a Bo Dallas championship run. But I do like the creativity. You're thinking outside the box, but that's a stretch. But hey, if it happens, you're going to look like an expert, like a genius.
Like I talked about Dominic Mysterio and a certain departing former world champion. We're going to get into that in a little bit when we come back. And we got a lot of interesting comments in the chat box, too. I want to make sure we get to all you guys that are firing stuff off. Boy, would we have a great time booking WWE, guys, or AEW. This 6. We're a good 6. Phil Stamper, Stu Myrick, Coach Rosey, David Shabazz, and a little old me, Mark Hoke. Actually, it's 5 of us. Sorry, I'm getting a little crazy. Stick around. We'll be right back.
6'7".
Oh, no, you didn't.
In Nevada, anything that goes into the storm drain goes directly to our local waterways, which can pollute Nevada's.
1015 FM KDAWN. You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
Oh, good Lord. This show. Welcome back to the Mark Hoke Show, everybody. It's the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. Phil Stamper from the Wrestling Revolver, Stu Myrick from Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, Coach Rosey from Ad Free Shows, David Shabazz, author of Pro Wrestling's Black World Champions, 3rd edition, is out. You can get it on his website at David L. Shabazz or pretty much most of those other outlets, right, Dave?
Yes. Any outlet worldwide.
Buy it. It's a good book. It's a great book. Fantastic. So don't
Must have.
Must have. That's the way to say it.
Stocking stuffer.
Stocking stuffer. No, you put that. You get a giant box and you put it in the middle there and pad it up and shove it under the Christmas tree as high as a kid, and then open it up and there's your greatest present for Christmas. That's how
I
you do it.
unfortunately have Christmas carols going on in the living room already. So yeah, my wife's fired up. It's already Christmas season here.
It just turned Halloween.
Yeah,
Halloween.
it doesn't matter.
There's been Christmas stuff in the store since August.
I know.
Halloween's over. I'm proud of you, Coach Rosey.
Thank you.
All right. Just some comments I wanted to hit in the chat box, and then we're going to talk about John Cena real quick. Javon Campbell in the chat box said the WWE champs are all elite. That's funny. Scoop's here, and of course, when the Bionic Scoop, one of the greatest wrestling photographers of all time, says hi, we all say hi back with Scoop.
Scoop, what up, boy?
Let's see. Javon also a comment. Jade can bring back the baddies, recruiting Lash from NXT and Jakara from TNA. Some new set of baddies.
The brain just went Lash LaRoe.
Lash LaRoe, that'd be great.
I mean, he's an agent right now, isn't he? Or like they're in production or something.
Oh, golly. Wow, Javon's just fired off. I think factions work, especially faction versus faction, splitting some of the SmackDown ladies into factions might spice things up for them. Ooh, so we're getting all the ladies together. Interesting. All right. So thanks for all the comments in the chat box. Keep it coming, guys. We appreciate it. John Cena is having a 16-man tournament to determine his final opponent. Rumor is it will be Gunther winning this tournament. David Shabazz, I'll hit you first. Do you like the tournament idea? Because honestly, I think it sucks.
Right. I don't really like that. I mean, I think they're just trying to, I think it's just another gimmick to try to build some interest, but I don't like that idea.
Phil, I bet you're just thrilled about the John Cena 16-man tournament. I can see some things that you could pull some things off in there to set some stuff up for future pay-per-views, WrestleMania, but generally, no.
Well, the thing that just, I don't know, hit my head like a brick was I think we all forgot about what was viral in the WWE literally a week ago was the mysterious commercial on social media where they
I'm getting to that.
Whose shoes are walking down the hallway. So it's like, of all of those people, they then featured in the commercial on Monday when everybody went, oh, like it was like the air got lit out of the room. So, well, Brock Lesnar was there. We haven't talked about Brock. I'm sure so is he going to figure into the main event picture moving forward? So is it going to be like one of the big players to go up against John Cena to make it, quote, more viable, more interesting, whatever you want to throw up there? Cena versus somebody once again for the last time ever until it isn't. Like, I don't know. I feel like we're missing something that's like right in front of our face.
Yeah, probably.
Like, Rock again, like he just comes out like, okay, it's Rock.
So the other thing that has come up, aside from this tournament, Stu, well, lo and behold, after I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, that maybe John should win the Intercontinental title and get a couple of brouhahas with Dominic Mysterio. Lo and behold, that rumor is starting to come out that is the plan. You like that part?
Sure. If for no other reason, then that gives John the Grand Slam. Yeah, that's been the rumor for a while that he takes the title from Dominic at Survivor Series. So then, do you make December 13th for the IC title, and if so, against who? I don't like the tournament. I get it. It's something to fill time, which this point in this part of the year, that's what they need. They got to have something to fill the time. But it's not. It does nothing for me. This isn't. We're not talking New Japan. We're not talking like Best Super Juniors or G1 or something. It's winner gets to face John Cena in his final match. I don't know. It seems lame. I'll be honest, I have no idea who you put in that match. There is a litany of individuals. I still say get a younger guy that can get the win and use the rub off beating John Cena to catapult him. But who that younger guy is, I have no idea.
And so I just figured Dominic loses the title to him in one of these couple last appearances, and then it ends up with Dominic beating him back for the IC title in his last match. Coach, I got about 30 seconds here. What do you think about these John Cena plans?
I love it. Only because they promise people from all over, maybe some guys from other leagues. I think we're going to see some matchups that we weren't expecting. And right, I mean, we were just complaining about what we saw on Saturday Night Main Event. This might actually be something that piques our interest in the slow season of professional wrestling.
All right.
You're not going to see Jericho and you're not going to see Copeland. They're under contract with AEW.
I'll be curious to see who they throw in. Maybe Mr. Iguana gets to the final of the tournament. Mr. Iguana time. John Cena and Mr. Iguana to wrap it all up. That's a finish. Could you imagine John wrestling Mr. Iguana to wrap it? Wow. Well, I know, Stu, I know you got to go and coach. Are you sticking around?
I got about 15 minutes.
All right. So we've got more with David Shabazz, Phil Stamper. Stu's out of here. Make sure you check him out. Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, a great show. It is available on the Odyssey app as well. Coach Rosey's sticking around too. And unfortunately for all of you, so am I. So we'll be back with more on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, Talk of Las Vegas. Follow us on X at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, YouTube, The Mark Hoke Show, and get into that live stream. Have some fun with us. Stick around, everybody. Hour 2 of the Mark Hoke Show coming up in just a little bit. The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join the Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, I'm a little hyped today. I didn't really try it, but it's more exhausting than anything else. I had a long day at working at the sports books. I'm a little sore and a little tired, but you know what? I'm here because I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in to the Mark Hoke Show. We certainly do appreciate it. It's the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. And here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the Talk of Las Vegas, also streaming on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Get that app right now, and I guarantee you'll be better looking than Phil Stamper on Halloween. Unbelievable. What? Phil's giving me the business there. But make sure you get that app. And we are also live streaming YouTube, X, and Facebook at Mark Hoke Show on X. You can follow us there. And then on YouTube and Facebook at the Mark Hoke Show. Come join us. We'd love to hear from you. It's always a lot of fun listening to our comments from our listeners. All right, hour 2. Now we got to talk about Saturday night's main event. We got to talk about John Cena and some other stuff. Now we get into some of the really, weird, crazy, stupid, depending on your point of view stuff. And I am starting this hour off with this incredible promo that got put out for WrestleMania. And if you didn't see it, the WWE is leading up with a bunch of guys showing their feet, walking down a hallway, which ends up into about a minute or two WrestleMania promo. In this promo, they're at a poker table. It is Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, Triple H, and Paul Heyman. There they are. Probably your biggest names in WWE. The internet wrestling community explodes. Oh my God, there's no women. There's no people of color. What are we doing here? It's the first ad for WrestleMania. But Phil, I'm sure you saw this and you brought it up earlier. What did you think of this promo, and is everybody going nuts justified?
Well, I think where people kind of misled themselves was the belief that this was going to unveil something new, that this was a secret, big surprise, shocking thing, and it was the teaser for Mania. Correction, it was a teaser for the Mania commercial. So I think that's where people really just lost it, because they were like, we wanted something new and exciting and different. And this is everybody we already kind of thought would be at Mania.
David, what did you think about this supposed controversy? WWE is doing their first advertisement, and a lot of people on the internet, as they usually do, who always find something to complain about, said there wasn't a female in this ad. There wasn't anybody of color. Even though last time I checked, by the way, Roman Reigns is not a white guy. Just saying. Right. Just saying. Hawaii or wherever, I forgot his true last name, but it's not Irish. Did WWE miss the boat on this, or is it's just the first promo, guys? Relax.
No, I don't think they missed the boat. This is the first promo, and I think people need to relax. I mean, everybody wants to be politically correct and have, I'd hate to say a token person of color or female on everything. And I mean, they're going to do more. I mean, that's coming. I don't think they need to be in uproar over that. That's just looking for something to just try to talk about. There are going to be some more commercials.
Yeah, there will be more, everyone. Relax. But Coach, there was one interesting thing, that another fight that started because of this. And because people were saying, Brock Lesnar shouldn't have been in this ad. They should have had Rhea Ripley. But if you are putting out an ad where you're trying to put the biggest people and the most recognizable names in your company in there, wouldn't you have Brock Lesnar over Rhea Ripley? Because the argument is Rhea is more well known than Brock, and I'm going to tell you what: if you think that, you're nuts, or maybe I am.
No. My whole premise on the commercial is, the internet wrestling community maybe makes up 5 to 10% of ticket buying audience and spending for any really wrestling promotion. So if you're just a periphery fan, you need to play the hits with them because that's what's going to bring them out. Brock Lesnar attracts a lot of people, not only from wrestling, but from UFC. People know who Cody is. People know who CM Punk is. People know who Roman Reigns is. People know who Paul Heyman is. And if I'm forgetting anybody else that was at the round table, I apologize.
Yeah, Roman and Triple H.
Yeah, okay. Triple H, that's another recognizable name. I mean, that might even plug into the political stuff. Who knows why they did all that stuff. But Rhea Ripley is important to people in the internet wrestling community and people that might be part-time watchers. But a lot of their buys and sales from their Super Bowl doesn't come from Rhea Ripley and doesn't come from people that are not well known. They're trying to attract sponsors. They're trying to attract lapsed fans, because WrestleMania does bring back a lot of people that or that's like church on Easter and Christmas. That's the only show they watch every year. So mission accomplished on getting the word out that these people are going to have a main role in WrestleMania. And even if you just had those people in main roles, you're going to be bringing a lot of eyes to your program.
Phil, you're a marketing guy. Was that the right 6 to place out there?
Well, as a marketing guy, I probably would not have chosen Brock Lesnar for the reasons we all know about. Don't have to go down that whole route again, but he's the only one I sort of question mark. Everyone else, I'm like, this makes sense. This is the ad for, hey, come watch the big show of the year. Because you're absolutely right. Even in the old pay-per-view model, the largest selling wrestling pay-per-view of the year was always WrestleMania. So it's like this. That is the most watched thing. It's the most common thing people think of sometimes when they think of a big wrestling event, WrestleMania. So, and again, like David said, this is not going to be the last commercial. This is not going to be all you're going to see about Mania until the day of Mania, the 2 days of Mania. Like, there's so much more that's going to come out and be announced. So if people have lost that already, I'm sorry. Now I'm not going to say, though, because there have been recent events with WWE where there wasn't a person of color on a pay-per-view. There wasn't a woman on a pay-per-view. So I can understand where maybe that cautious concern is coming from. I really seriously doubt at Mania that we're going to get there. And hello, Roman Reigns.
Yeah, there you go. I'll be honest, and I'm sure Seth Rollins probably would have been in that promo had he not been hurt. And by the way, it just came out he's going to be out for 6 months, so it's going to be really close to see if he can make it back for WrestleMania or not. But I'll be frank, I might have, if I was picking somebody to leave out of there, I probably would have left Triple H out. Now I have to look at a replacement, but Triple H isn't wrestling as far as I know. So what was the point of him being in there other than you have, the recognition of him? But, Brock is, the whole thing with Brock Lesnar, I just wonder how many casual fans even really know about him being named in that lawsuit. Yeah. That's because, I remember when he showed back up that everybody just went crazy. And are there people that brought signs later on? Yeah, absolutely. But I think in general, the average wrestling fan is like, hey, it's Brock Lesnar. David, what do you think about that?
I agree. I mean, I don't think the casual fans probably don't even know much about it at all, and I don't think they really care. Brock still has a huge following, and I think a lot of people would like to see him. I do agree. I think Triple H is probably the person who I would not have put in there because he's not an active wrestler at the moment. But everybody else, including Brock, yeah, I think it was good.
Yeah. So everybody relax. I'm sure that Rhea is going to be in an ad at some point. It'll be okay. We'll just pat you all on the head and say it's all right. It's okay. But yeah, that blew me away. That promo just lost everybody. But Phil, I do agree with you on the fact that people were probably expecting something more. And once again, it goes back to what we were talking about a little bit in the first hour. That it's been B. You know what I mean? No A's on the pay-per-views and some of the stuff they're doing. It's like, yeah, it's good, but it's not. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's okay.
I'm trying to articulate in my brain because I think that's it. I think people are excited about what will happen next, and they want it. And I guess sometimes people just don't feel like it's being delivered, or they want more. They want the next thing. They're not ready. They don't want just the thing now. They want the next thing. And that's part of the excitement of watching any wrestling event, is what more is going to come. And sometimes you have to wait that little moment for the story to build. Because we spent most of the first hour talking about, what do we think this is going to mean for Cena? What do we think this is going to mean down the road? And we don't know. And we're paying attention because we're interested. And so I think that's hopefully the gain that comes out of this. It's like, okay, I'm disappointed that I didn't get what I wanted this time, but okay, well, what are they going to show us next time?
Yeah. And
hopefully that's the hook.
Yeah. And Coach, I think, and I know you got to get rolling here. I'll just fire one question at you and let you roll. I think that the big difference that we're seeing in AEW as opposed to WWE is AEW is creating these terrific matches, especially on their pay-per-view events, that there are awesome moments in them because the story leading up to the match and everything that pulls together when those matches take place, as opposed to WWE where they're having matches and then there's some moment like a title change. We've had 8 title changes in WWE since late September when Stephanie McClure won her championship in Paris. 8. That's a lot. And I think that WWE is trying to take that route. Well, here's a new champion, but you can't keep going down that road of here's a new champion, here's a new champion, here's a new champion, here's a new champion. It's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Yeah, it's not going to be sustainable. And WWE's lucky that AEW's got all these injuries because their premier guys are out at a time that they can really see some viewership. Swerve and Will Ospreay and everybody else is the heavy hitters are hurt. Imagine if they were around. I mean, no offense to Kyle O'Reilly, he's a great wrestler, but when he gets back-to-back matches against Jon Moxley on Dynamite, I don't think that really gets the blood pumping very much. And plus, WWE has a machine behind them. There's going to be a great rivalry. There is a great rivalry in AEW that most people aren't even talking about with Takeshi and Okada. I mean, that is going to be huge when they go head to head. And I hope they do put some kind of build up to it, some storyline to it, and not just throw it on the most current pay-per-view. The whole faction thing with AEW, people are getting sick of that. The Don Callis family having more disciples than Jesus did is throwing people off as well. So there's a lot of things that aren't really getting the internet wrestling community fired up. They're actually pushing people away to some point.
Isn't that kind of the point though with this whole thing with Don Callis? That they are making this group so big, it's like Jesus's disciples. You saw that artwork that they did, on the show where Don was, draped in a robe and everybody was around him. I mean, it's like they're trying to make Don Jesus, but he's going to get betrayed soon enough.
Well, I mean, I think you saw what happened when Eric made the NWO 12, 13, 14 people deep. It watered down the NWO, and that was the death of the NWO. And that was, the fall of WCW, because once it got to 99, 2000, 2001, it was a dead product. So I hope that's not their goal, because it's been proven throughout wrestling history that that plan does not work.
Yeah, I think it's more of a plan of the family falling apart, kind of like Mercedes getting all these belts. That the crash down is going to be the real story behind the story. So I would urge everybody to be patient on this one, because Tony's got a reason he's doing it. Well, Coach, I know you got to get out of here, so I'm going to let you go. And I'll tell you what, guys, we'll head to commercial break. But Coach, real quick, ad-free shows.
Just plugging along. Today we have a great Zoom with Rebel, former AEW valet. I think she's going to give us some news on Britt Baker. So if you're interested today, 3 or 5 o'clock Eastern on ad-free shows.
Oh, and you also got something coming up too. I want to make sure we start promoting that.
Well, that's coming down the line pretty soon. We're going to be setting up a wrestling show that's really going to be helping a lot of people in this world, where we're going to be raising some money for the neurodivergent community. So that's down the line, and we're really excited, and we're going to be putting the players in place, and hopefully it's going to be a reality real soon.
All right. Sounds good. All right, Coach, I'm going to let you get out of here. We will stick around with David Shabazz, the author of Wrestling's Black World Champions Volume 3, and Phil Stamper. So the Battle Royal, we're throwing a couple people over the top rope as we go. I don't think we're going to get rid of anybody else, though, as the show goes on. I'm sorry. That was a joke. Anyway, stick around. We'll be right back on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN.
At Sam and Ash Injury Law,
This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, and we are back on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, talk of Las Vegas. Very happy to have you with us today on your post-Halloween weekend fiascos, whatever you're doing. It was nuts here in Las Vegas, I can tell you that. Fremont Street was peppy. It was very peppy. So I hope you all had a good time, especially driving in it. It was fantastic. Phil Stamper from the Wrestling Revolver is here, along with David Shabazz, the author of Pro Wrestling's Black World Champions Volume 3. That book is now available. It's been available for a while. Go get it. Just have that and a nice plate of chocolate chip cookies, and you're going to be thrilled to death. All right. So on a more serious note, we've been having a little fun with Devon Dudley lately, as Devon had hinted that he had a racially charged discussion with someone. He hinted at it, and then came out that he was saying the person was Jim Ross. And Devon's, basically was saying, well, look, I don't hold against him. Everything's okay. It really hurt at the time. But then in this follow-up interview that he did with Video Gamer, he said this, and I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on this. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The Klan wore sheets on their heads. The Ku Klux Klan wore sheets over their heads, and I felt like that a lot of those Klan members made their way into wrestling, traded in their sheets for suits. It was definitely a behind-the-scenes thing. I've dealt with it with certainly higher-ups, like MVP said, and kept going on that. Some interesting comments by Devon, and then he kind of backed it off a little bit later on. But David, you hear something like that, and these are things that you study. You've written 3 books about Black World Champions and wrestlers. How do you feel when you hear about the stuff that Devon has said over the past week and a half?
Well, I honestly haven't heard all of Devon's comments, but I would say it certainly it validates some of the research that I've been writing, and I'm not surprised at all. I'd like to know who, some of the people he was talking to. Jim Ross, certainly, I know JR is very familiar with a lot of the behind the scenes players. I don't think JR has any racist activity himself, but I know he's very familiar with all of the backstage players, and he would definitely know what's been going on.
Yeah, it's very interesting to hear Devon say that, and you hear those things and you feel like, wow, this is real tough. But then of course, sometimes guys have an extra grind too, and so you kind of have to take some stuff with a grain of salt. But Phil, what did you think about all this thing with Devon? I mean, this was pretty heavy stuff.
I mean, I'll be honest, I hadn't heard about it. So actually, as you're saying, I have a screen going up and it's showing me the closed captioning of the things that he's saying. So I'm trying to catch up, but I honestly hadn't heard about this.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And it looks like there was an interview he did very recently. So I see a clip from yesterday from actually somebody local to me. Duke Loves Wrestling has a clip he's showing. So that's sort of what I'm reading through, as I guess Devon's now explaining what happened.
Yeah. So some fascinating stuff with Devon Dudley, and we'll see if there's any more fallout from this one. But yeah, that was pretty heavy. Speaking of pretty heavy stuff, Juggalo Championship Wrestling, that crazy little promotion, has a new investor, booker, and apparently online TV character. The man who swore he was done. He didn't want to have anything to do with pro wrestling anymore. He hates it. Well, I guess he doesn't hate it that much because Vince Russo is back. If you can believe it. Of course, Insane Clown Posse runs Juggalo, and they've been talking for a while with Vince, and he's there. He's going to be on the November 27th episode on their YouTube show. Phil, you got Vince Russo back on the independent circuit. Congratulations.
Oh, yay. I mean, but apparently not just JCW too. He's also apparently helping with NWA. And I will say, where I know people in both places, I have not asked, But I've also heard the speculation of people going, is this just a big work? Is this part of him as a celebrity sort of now endorsing these products to get more eyes on the company versus him actually doing it? That I don't know either, but I've heard that rumor too.
Good thing or bad thing?
Questionable thing.
Picture Vince Russo walking into the wrestling Revolver all of a sudden. I mean, I know it probably wouldn't happen, but if Vince Russo walked through the backstage in the curtain, would you be happy about this or not?
As our friend of the show has said, Eric Bischoff, controversy creates cash, right? So if people are like, Vince Russo, well, what does he do with JCW? That's weird. Interesting. Like, I think that is actually going to help people pay attention a little bit more. Specific to the JCW product, I think people are going to be like, I do think in that particular case it's going to help.
Can you tell us a little bit about JCW? And of course, you do that unbelievable list of independent promotions. If you don't follow Phil at Trust and Phil, you're missing it. I mean, I try to retweet it too, but it's just the work that you put on that is incredible. But tell everybody a little bit about JCW for those that don't know about the promotion.
Juggalo Championship Wrestling, like you mentioned, is ran by the Insane Clown Posse. It's sometimes hard to describe because you have this huge following of ICP. All the juggalos who are interested in like what they're doing in their shows on the musical side, but a lot of them carry over into the wrestling side, and then you have wrestling fans who also come and attend. So sometimes that audience gets a little wild because it's a focus on ICP and their followers, and then you on top then have these really great wrestlers on their show. I will say when it first started, it felt a little dirty. It wasn't quite as clean of an event as it is now. Now it's a high quality production. It's a spectacle. You can watch JCW Insanity. I think it's a weekly show now for free online. So, go check it out just to see what it's about, because it is interesting. I mean, if you can mix up the styles of ICP, and then here comes the Mortons, Ricky Morton, and like, hey, let's go.
David, is Vince Russo being back in pro wrestling in any capacity whatsoever a good thing or a bad thing?
It depends. I think it could be a good thing, but I really think right now Vince is sort of being used like an influencer. I think he's kind of being paid to just help JCW promotion. That's kind of what I think he's doing, because he's really heavily involved in his own podcast, and I don't see him really being active for a long time. I think he's just being there just to kind of hype everything up and just kind of help promote the promotion, if you will.
I think Vince is going to buy all the indies. Phil Stamper's going to have to work for Vince Russo.
Hey, if it happens, I've probably worked for worse.
That is nice. All right, so yeah, guys, Vince Russo is back. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. Well, we had some other interesting wrestling news coming out on the business side as well. With apparently Netflix has thrown their hat in about purchasing Warner Brothers Discovery, which would be a little bit of a mess for AEW if that happened, because of course Warner Brothers Discovery is AEW's home. And would there be tolerance to have two wrestling organizations on Netflix? Yeah, I don't know, but we've heard other names too, like Amazon and so on. Comcast popping up on this thing. We mentioned that last week, but Netflix throwing their hat in the ring, maybe. David, do you think this could be really threatening to AEW if it ends up being Netflix? I mean, like I said, they're in bed with WWE for the tune of like $5 billion.
Yeah, I don't think this is a really good move. I think it's really going to hurt AEW, which WWE would probably appreciate that. And I think that's what's going on. I don't think it's going to be good for AEW. I don't think that's a good move.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like I said, it's one of many companies that are trying to pick those bones if they can. But Phil, how are you feeling about this? What's the word on the street here?
I mean, I agree, and it's kind of like, oh wow, if you wanted any more parallels with WCW, I see David shaking his head. I mean, and it was Warner Brothers that caused it the last time, so I feel like we might be going down a very, very similar path.
Yeah, we'll see. And Two Man in the chat box said, if Netflix buys WBD, does that mean RIPAW? I don't think it does. I don't think they're going to lose the company, but WWE is being very sneaky about this, that they are putting their fingers in the hands of so many different media outlets. Right now, Fox is the only safe place that they could go in terms of major networks, because they got NBC, they got CBS with Paramount, the CW, and the list goes on and on. I don't think they want to do an exclusive deal with Amazon, so I don't know about that. Let's see what else we got in here. Tube Man also said IWC wish Vince Russo and The Rock should have saved WWE from Triple. What? Save WWE from Triple H. Well, yeah, it is an interesting point though about Vince Russo. While you may not have agreed with everything he did, the man does know how to get attention, and Triple H as the booker right now is just kind of sailing along a little bit. Vince and The Rock. Oh, David, could you imagine that?
No. I don't know. That combination would not work at all. But I do think I'm really disappointed with Triple H's booking. I don't know. I almost think that there's maybe it's like what we were talking about the first half, the Saturday night's main events. It's like the content, you're not giving me anything new. I know we can't really go back to the days of when Hogan would make very few appearances, and it was a big deal when you saw Hulk Hogan. But I kind of think they need to sort of do that with Saturday night's main event. If it's not your regular weekly programming, if this is supposed to be something special, I think they kind of need to find a way to make it more special.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Phil. And one thing, I guess it's a very different era when Saturday night's main event was on the first time around, because it was an exclusive show on when we had 13 channels. But now it's not as unique. But I think that what made it special when it came back was you brought back all the retro stuff. You're on NBC, and those of us that have been around long enough, we're like, oh, this is great to have this back. Oh, this feels so good, And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's on Peacock. Yeah, it doesn't feel the same.
So. One of the things I think wrestling is missing on the mainstream level is how they reach out to the next generation of fans. Like, we had that access on Saturday mornings to watch either Superstars or Challenge, depending on where you were at, or both. Even later, there was, I think it was AM Raw on Saturdays on the USA Network. And so it was like a way that kids and I don't want to say necessarily the whole family is wrapped around it, but it was sort of an entryway to be able to watch wrestling, and that's gone. I mean, WWE advanced their product to be for a more mature audience. AEW, I think, is hitting that same realm. So if this happens, big ifs, do you want AEW still around to go, let's use them to market? I'm not saying super changes, but to market it more for the family friendly generation, to get kids interested in it and they grow up and graduate into a WWE. And I mean, I don't think they'll do that, but that could be a way to do it. I mean, already if Tony Khan is trying to position AEW in general to be, well, we're pricing ourselves at a better way so families can come and attend. Okay. Are people going to match up with what then the product is? So I don't know. I feel like that's what wrestling is missing. And maybe there needs to be something that is there with that to be able to recruit. I shouldn't say recruit, but recruit fans to get fans interested again and get that younger generation in. So when they become paying adults, then they are buying into a product.
Yeah, it is a tricky situation in terms of bringing that next generation in with so many different things to take your attention away from. I mean, when like David, for example, when you and I were watching pro wrestling when we were kids, or younger adults, there wasn't that massive amount of competition taking our eyes away, and so when something got hot, man, I mean, there was nothing hotter than Hulk Hogan in WrestleMania. I mean, it took over the world, and to do that now, boy, it is an uphill task for any wrestling organization to do it. I mean, Roman Reigns probably came the closest in the last 15 years to really pulling that task off. So it's a major challenge for everybody for the wrestling companies to find ways to find viewers and pull that younger group away.
I agree. I mean, it's a challenge of trying to build interest in a storyline. I mean, you almost have to have the wrestlers out there regularly to build the interest in the storyline. But what's going to make the Saturday night's main event something unique? It's almost seems like there's a not information overload, but maybe like a content overload. It's like so much. What's really making this event stand out? And they've got to find some sort of way to build interest, but to make it a unique event. And I don't know how to do that in this this era of professional wrestling, but I mean, I think that's what they need to do to make the show sustainable and make it popular again. Because again, I was watching college football. I didn't care, but I just cared more about the football games.
Well, and the World Series was on last night too, so that didn't help. This next one coming up, obviously, John Cena in his final matches, I'm sure is going to do some pretty massive numbers, but you're not going to have John Cena retiring on every show, So they got to find a way to make this. And I just wonder if it's maybe bringing back some of the older guys and doing some maybe doing some old school promos and stuff like that with some of the superstars of the past. And I could sit around my daughter and say, yeah, that's Jimmy Hart and so on and so forth. It is a unique quandary that they're going to have to deal with. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, some other cool stuff happening in the ring. The AEW Women's Tag Team Tournament's underway, and we got a new number one contender for Wrestle Dream. We've already got 5 matches on the card. That means Tony's only got 10 more to schedule, I think. So get ready for that. And we'll give David a chance to talk about his book, Pro Wrestling's Black World Champions Volume 3. Stick around. We'll be right back.
We're here with Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center. Chuck, how much do your loans really cost?
If you're a new customer, the first week's interest is on us. It's free to apply, and there are no other fees. We lend up to $5,000 in minutes, but let's use a $1,000 loan as an example. You could use an extra grand, right?
Always.
The interest on $1,000 is $5.50 per day. $500 costs $2.75 a day. You can do the math from there. Simple, transparent, and no added fees. The cool part is the earlier you pay it back, the less it costs. We only charge interest for how long you keep the loan out. 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, even up to a year. It's your call.
DLC lends up to $5,000 in minutes, and you can get your cash in person at one of our 70 locations, on our website, don'tbebroke.com, or even over the phone with one of our helpful, real staff members. You're gonna love Dollar Loan Center.
So I was on eBay because I'm absolutely obsessed
with this rare hologram trading card. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. eBay had it. They even had
the perfect parts that fit my car.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay.
Ready to kick off the fun? Chumba Casino is your go-to game plan during halftime or overtime. FM KDAWN. You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
Yeah, that's me. We're going to wrap this thing up. Having an awesome time. Phil Stamper from the Wrestling Revolver. Got to make sure we get that in there, like that pretentious Ohio State. And same kind of thing. David Shabazz, author of Pro Wrestling's Black World Champions Volume 3, also in the house with us tonight. David, have you enjoyed the crew, by the way?
I have. I really enjoy hanging out with you guys. I mean, this is so special. I want us to continue doing this. This is great.
Oh, maybe we're going to have to initiate him, Phil.
Uh-oh.
All right.
No.
Run, David, run. Before I get into a couple of things, I do want to take a second to wish one of my personal favorites, Mike Rotunda, all the best. He is having some health issues. Barry Windham had came out and said he was in hospital care. It turned out that he ended up correcting those statements that apparently Rotunda had a huge heart attack on September 20th. He was in a coma for a week and then hospitalized for a month. But he is in a rehab center recovering, which is, I'm sure, part of the reason we haven't seen Bo Dallas, the soon-to-be WWE Undisputed Champion, on TV for a little bit. But we want to wish Mike and the family all the best. They've had enough suffering. Let's hope Mike pulls through this. So all the best to you, Mike. And I remember when the wrestling magazines had you as Rotundo, not Rotunda. So there you go. All right. In AEW, the Full Gear card is starting to come together. We had Samoa Joe winning a #1 contenders match. So we get the Hangman and Samoa Joe again. David, are you excited about Joe getting a second shot?
Honestly, no.
Oh man, you're getting coquina clutched. Oh no. So all right.
I'm just not. I just don't really see it right now. I mean, it may be a good match, but I don't know. I don't think Samoa Joe has really gotten over with me. Maybe with a lot of the fans he has, but and I mean no personal offense. I'm just his character is just not really over with me personally.
Fair enough. You better stay out of Huntington Beach. Phil Stamper, are you excited about this?
I really do like Joe.
I love Joe.
I want to like this. I do feel like there's been some missed opportunity with Joe being on Twisted Metal. At the same time, I also think Twisted Metal messed up a little bit because like Samoa Joe didn't need a voiceover guy. Like, and it's funny because the person who's doing his voice is doing the best Samoa Joe impression ever. And I'm like, this is so weird to me that they just don't use his voice, and it's totally him. And he does voiceover work, so it's not like he himself is unfamiliar with how to talk on a microphone. It's a whole weird thing, but I feel like you could still leverage that marketing and make more of a general audience for a mainstream wrestling product more interested in what's happening with Samoa Joe. And I don't think they've taken that opportunity as best as they could have.
Fair enough. More matches are on that card. Chris Statlander, Mercedes Moné. So Mercedes will try and add another belt to her collection against Chris for the World Championship. Brodito is going to be taking on FTR. Boom and Doom. They'll be, I'm sure, opening the pre-show. Big Boom AJ and QT Marshall will be taking an RPG Vice. And then $1 million match. I can't believe this. $1 million to the winner of Kenny Omega and the Jurassic Express against the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander. Phil, $1 million? The stakes going up, man.
I'm all about it. I take a few numbers in front of 6 zeros. Like let's go.
You get $10 and a hot dog at the stand, Phil Stamper. That's how it goes.
Money is money.
That is.
Let's face it. There's a lot of people right now who are struggling financially, and so you put that dollar amount in front of something and market it, like you might get some fan interest.
Well, there you go. So that's where the Full Gear card stands at this point. Like I said, we got a lot more matches to book on that thing for sure. Women's tag team tournament underway, and unfortunately Penelope Ford got hurt tore her UCL, so basically the same issue when a pitcher has Tommy John surgery. But Megan Bain got herself a new partner with Marina Shafir, guys, and they wrestled on Collision and looked pretty good. Is there a change of plans here? Maybe Bain and Ford were supposed to win this thing in the first place, so they decided, let's put Shafir in there just to kill everybody. David, what do you think?
I don't know. I think they sort of had to because of the situation, but I don't. It could be interesting. Well, I'm just wait and see.
Yeah, they look good on Collision. We did have a first round match. The Sisters of Sin knocked off Queen Aminata and Jamie Hayter, so they have advanced. And Phil, you weren't here. We were talking about this tournament last week. Just how deep this thing is that I could have seen any one of probably 7 of the 8 teams winning this thing. Do you have a favorite in this one?
I really don't. I honestly, I just don't. But I agree with you. And the reason I don't is because it could be so many different people. Yeah, I just can't. I can't wrap my head around like which team would I be the one to be like, this is it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun tournament, and credit to AEW for having such a deep women's roster that they can put something together like this. So, David, I want to give you a shot again. Of course, we had you on talking about the book a little bit, but tell everybody again a little bit about this incredible historic book that you've put out.
Yes. Pro Wrestling's Black World Champions is the 3rd edition of it, and it's bigger and bolder than the previous 2. It has a lot more African American female wrestlers here, and that's not due to anything on me. It's about them having the opportunities to win the belt. So that's more of what it's about, and looks like with Jade Cargill winnings, trying to get me to do a 4th edition of this, which I was trying to avoid doing. But it's good that more people are actually, winning the championships, and that's what it's about. It's really trying to highlight those Black wrestlers who won the world championship. And I was on a podcast recently with Ahmed Johnson. And Ahmed was saying that, he kind of actually reminded me that he was the first Black intercontinental champion. And it's like, yeah, that's a great thing. But, like in this particular book here, it's only talking about, the people who won the world heavyweight title. But that is a significant feat that he accomplished. And I'll say it here first. I've actually finished. I was updating my brother's book, messing up the titles now, The Black Stars of Professional Wrestling, and because it was out of print. I was having some issues with the publisher getting the rights to it, because I wanted to put that back out once my brother passed. It's like they just stalled on it, and I wanted to keep that out. And so what I'm doing is I've actually finished it, and it's waiting on, with the government shutdown, I don't have my copyrights yet, and that's kind of what I'm waiting on.
Yeah, but these books are fantastic. The work you put into them is incredible, and it's a subject that, if you want to learn more about pro wrestling history and from a very interesting perspective, David, I would tell everybody to go pick this book up, and the other 2 as well. Tell everybody where they can find it, and lay it out there, bud.
Yes, the easiest way is through my website, davidlshabazz.com. But you can also go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, the big major bookstores. They all carry it. I certainly would like for people to come to my website and order the book from there, because you can get it a little cheaper. But all the traditional outlets carry the book, and I would really encourage any true wrestling fan to have this in your collection, because it's really highlighting a lot of the overlooked wrestlers, and certain things that I know people will learn that they probably did not know, like we talked about last time. Ernie Ladd being a booker. I mean, a lot of people may not have known that. I know I didn't at the time. So I think it's really interesting. And I think people will really enjoy it.
And Phil, you had a story from Revolver, by the way. What happened?
So,
Go ahead.
About 5 years ago, right before the pandemic, our last show that we had before the pandemic, our trailer with everything in it got stolen from where it was being stored at. And then we had to scramble for another event. Last night at 1:30 in the morning, I get a phone call from Sammy Callahan going, they found the ring.
Wow.
So I'm waiting for like the next point in the story. I mean, because of course back then there was a police report filed, all this stuff had happened. So waiting for the next development.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That is a huge victory.
Else too, not just the ring.
No doubt. And that is going to wrap it up for us today. I want to thank Coach Rosey from Ad Free Shows, Stu Myrick from Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, Phil Stamper from the Wrestling Revolver, David Shabazz, author of Pro Wrestling's Black World Champions Volume 3. Make sure you pick that book up today. Don't wait. Just do it. It needs to be on your bookshelf immediately. And follow us on X at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show, YouTube, The Mark Hoke Show. And we promise we'll be back again next week for another edition of The Mark Hoke Show. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. We will see you next time. Have a great day, Las Vegas.
Thank you.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for